Are you a burnt out overachiever buried in responsibilities? Do you miss laughing with your friends, just laughing from the gut? Do you feel like life's passing you by? If you've been wishing for some kind of shift, you're in the right place. Welcome to 52 Weeks of Hope, the show where we take you off the hamster wheel by ditching your to-do list for the to-don't list. This is where you get to learn how to make that lonely ache vanish, learn self-compassion techniques, and to give yourself grace. I'm Lauren Abrams, and I get to help you feel that magic again since going through my own dark night of the soul, so you can learn from my experience and the mentors and experts I meet along the way. And today we're talking about life lessons. I've taken the last 200 episodes, Messages of Hope, and I've compiled them into 7 overarching themes that I'm calling life lessons because they are. And let me tell you, if you're new to the podcast, and even if you aren't, what brought this podcast around? Maybe you never heard the first episode. I invite you to do so. Everyone seems to really like it and relate to it because I talk about my dark night of the soul, but I went through it. Everyone goes through it. Nobody goes through this life unscathed. And when I got through it, because the only way through is through, I was like, what the hell was that? And I just started wondering, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? And my soul search. And I started wondering, why are we here? And what is the meaning of life? And I decided to ask a person a week just that question, a much older demographic. And I decided I'd ask one person a week that question. And I started doing that. I was busy, single mom, raising my kids at the time, and they were much younger. I was running my law practice and being of service in all the different avenues that I'm of service. But I figured that was doable, just going and asking one person a week. And I started doing that. And people would reveal really personal information to me. And it was so rich and so good. And after 2.5 months, I was like, there were common themes. And I thought, this is so good. I have to share it. I would go home after I would interview somebody and I would write it up. Sometimes I send it to my best friend, but I would write it up in my own verbiage, kind of funny, not making fun of them funny, but just the way I write and talk. Anyway, so I decided it's so good. I have to share this. And I decided I would write one of those books where you could open it up anywhere and you say, this is just what I needed to hear, or close it and open it again, or like, this is exactly what I need to hear, and call it 52 Weeks of Hope. And then COVID hit and we were on lockdown everywhere. I started podcasting and suddenly I wasn't confined to Los Angeles. I could interview people from anywhere. This was very much about what's the hardest challenge have you ever gone through? How did you get through it? And what's your message of hope? So I've compiled, and I still ask those questions, although the podcast has certainly evolved over the last 200 weeks into a lot more than that. In fact, I'm in the middle of a rebrand. I'm thinking now it should be radical pause. How do you take that breath? How do you take a pause and listen to your innermost voice and what's best for you, which is, I will get to that, but that's my 7th message, which is you have your own answers. I should start with that because this is what I learned. Maybe I'll go backwards. That's number 7. You have your own answers. You don't need another self-help, half-read, dog-eared self-help book or a life coach or another half-used course. You have all your own answers. We need to breathe. We need to actually take those moments to look inside and actually listen to our inner voice and our innermost self, or to journal to get to the answer. You can actually just write at the top of a page, what lights me up? What makes me happy? What is it that I'm not seeing? And just get quiet because you know. Sometimes it's hardest for us to see our own answers, but we absolutely know what's best for somebody else. But and our own answers are inside. We don't have to go and just do another course or half a course or 10th of a course or whatever it is, join some other group online or anything else. Yeah, I see you. I've been there. You're not the only one. So answers emerge in the pause. So taking that breath, you could set a timer for 10 minutes and just concentrate on the in breath and the out breath. Since in the 200 weeks since I started this podcast, I've become a meditation teacher, a mindfulness meditation teacher, loving kindness, mindfulness, self-compassion techniques, all of it. If you go on the YouTube channel, I've started because I started teaching. I just finished a 6-week course. And for the people who are in that course, I've put the meditations up in the YouTube channel. And there's an intro, there's a meditation, there's a grounding, there's short ones, there are introductory meditations. They're all guided. Or you could just set a timer for 10 minutes and just concentrate on the in breath and the out breath. And I love when someone pointed out in one of the meditations, or the space in between the in breath and the out breath. And just doing that for 10 minutes and asking the universe for the answer. And when in doubt, do nothing. And the right answer comes. It just does. Then when you know what it is you want to do, then you can go and find the right coach or the right group to join in that space. But there's no reason to stay super busy. For me, it took almost a brush with death. I remembered it when, I don't know, I was recording one of these episodes and I was raising the kids. I was super busy and my doctor called me and she said I needed to go to the hospital, one of these tests. And I actually paused and thought, I don't know if I have time to go to the hospital. I have to get to the office. I have so much to do, or I had to be in court, whatever it was. I actually considered not going to the hospital when my own health and life is at stake because I was so busy. And that's when I knew I needed a reset. That was my wake-up call. And it's when I started going on long weekends and having someone watch the kids and just doing a whole reset. It was my introduction to meditation and to all of these techniques. And it's been probably almost, I don't know, close to 20 years. And my life changed. Everything changed. I learned about breath and how our answers are within. And I learned how to laugh again and to appreciate the time with my kids and to be with my kids when I'm with them. And when I'm at work, I'm at work, and to put the phone away and not be on my phone when I was driving. I mean, you don't want to be on your phone when you're driving anyway, but just to be absolutely present and to just how you really can manifest anything. The sky's the limit. And I will get to it. It's 1 and 2. The most meaningful things in life are number 1 and 2. So number 7 is you have your own answers. You really do. But it does require taking that breath, taking a pause, go out. And I've talked to so many people. I think almost every single guest has said the same thing. It's in the pause. It's taking a minute. When I talked to Billy Salibi, who Podify, if you ever want to start a podcast, Podify they're my producers and everything else. I'll put a link to them in the show notes. They're the best. And he absolutely agrees. Take a walk without any device. It's kind of hard because you're so used to having a device. At least it is for me. Or you want to listen to something, but just taking a walk without any device and noticing everything around you. Notice your feet as they lift up and then touch the ground again. It's very meditative and it's a walking meditation. And answers just kind of come while you don't have a device. And we get so hooked into our devices. I know I do, and just about everybody I talk to agrees. So, and if you've been listening, I've gone on 2 silent retreats now. There's each 7 days, no device, no electronics at all, no nothing. 7 days. It's challenging. I mean, my mentor in my meditation course, she goes on 1 month retreats. I can't, like, 7's definitely my limit. 5 is probably preferable, but I've done 2 7-day retreats now. Anyway, that's how we get to our answers. And it's an amazing thing. It's just amazing. Take a walk around the block without a device. You'll see. Report back. Let me know what you think. Number 6, friendships matter. And the 5 regrets of the dying. There is a palliative caregiver who reported back on like 5,000 patients. She had tallied all of the regrets of the dying. I can read them to you. Number 1, there's the 5 regrets of the dying. Number 1, wishing you lived a life true to yourself instead of the life others expected of you. 2, wishing you didn't work so hard. 3, wishing you had the courage to express your true feelings. 4, wishing you stayed in touch with your friends. 5, wishing you let yourself be happier. So friendships matter. I absolutely love my episode I did on friendships. It's one of my favorites. I actually stalked the professor, that Marissa Franco, because her book is so amazing. And I love that episode. Marissa G. Franco. If you haven't heard it, I just love that episode. And she's just amazing. And she talks about how to make friendships as adults, why it matters, and why they aren't valued the same as a regular friend relationship. And your parents, it's always like, are they married or this and that? Nobody asks you about your friendships, and friendships are just so important. And so make the calls, check on your friends, keep those friendships going. And if you need new friendships, and I have talked about this a lot, when people want to get together or have lunch, I'll be like, let's go on a walk. I have such a sedentary life being a lawyer and podcasting. I work from home. I just sit in front of a screen all day. So as much as I can walk, I want to do that as often as possible. And we talk while we're walking. I don't know. It's just so great doing that for me. Everyone can't do that. Everyone isn't mobile. Check on your friends. It's just so important. And striking up new friendships, go to a dog park if you have a dog or if you like dogs. Or there's so many ways. Find whatever it is you like to do. Find other people that like to do it also. Or start a group. So many of my episodes talk about ways to do that. It's so important. And loneliness it's real. Authentic is the word of the year last year for a reason. As long as as long as we are our authentic selves, we're going to get friends. It's putting ourselves out there. And I'm the first to tell you it's not easy. It's so much more comfortable sitting in my house alone, I guess, reading a book or doing whatever, but we are not meant to live in isolation. We just aren't as humans. We are pack animals. So being out amongst others is just so important. So friendships matter. Whatever you can do to keep those alive, cooking groups, having dinners together, anything, playing cards, pickleball seems to be all the rage. Try that. Whatever it is, whatever lights you up, it makes you happy, finding other people to do that with, right? I mean, I'm big on hiking, seeing the water, being in the woods, hugging a tree together, whatever, which is a good segue to, so number 7 was you do have your own answers. Number 6 is friendships matter. Number 5, stay true to yourself. To thine own self be true. What lights you up? Not what do other people expect of you? What lights you up? What makes you happy? What brings you meaning? You can think about who brings you meaning. When you think about them, it makes you so happy to think about them. Can you be around those people? Or are you just people pleasing? Are you doing what other people want you to do? What's expected of you? What you were told you're supposed to be doing? Letha J, her episode, she's so good. She's amazing. She has a gazillion followers on TikTok, and she just helps so many people. Her family expected her to become a doctor, a lawyer, or nothing. And she started going to medical school and she dropped out. It wasn't true to herself. It's such a good episode. And she has so many tools for you. And she has an amazing journal to work out all of your stuff. So if you haven't heard her episode, she's just so good. And it's a good segue into the next one, which is number 4, life's in session. This is the only life we have. If there's something you really want to do, this is it. There's no dress rehearsal. This is your time. It's right now. If there's something that you've always wanted to do it. No one's paying that much attention to you. If you're worried what other people will think, no one's thinking about you. I've never thought of a diplomatic way to say that. But really, when I started my podcast, I thought, what are people going to think? No one's thinking about me. Nobody said, who are you to start a podcast? Who do you think you are? I thought they'd say that, but not one person ever said that to me. Maybe they thought it, but nobody's ever said it to me. And guess what? Nobody in my family listens to this. I mean, my husband does because, Scott has to, right? See, he'll come back and be like, yeah, you talked about me. This is my test. See, did you listen? No, he does. He listens, but nobody else in my family listens to this. So I thought when I would talk about my family, I would be horrified that nobody listens. Nobody in your family, if you ever want to start a podcast, which by the way, if you do, once a month, we have an accountability group for people that want to start podcasts. So if you'd like to join, just let me know. We meet up on Zoom once a month. And because at this point, I feel like an expert. Oh, you should use these people and do this and listen to this one and use this because I have read everything. I love everything about podcasting. When I started this, I knew nothing about podcasting. I didn't even listen to podcasts, maybe Brene Brown once in a while and some Michelle Obama, who I don't even know if she has one anymore. But anyway, that was it. Oh, Oprah, of course. But yeah, that was my experience with podcasting. I knew nothing. Now. Like I just eat up everything to do with podcasting. So I want to give back. And so, yeah, we just meet on Zoom once a month. So If you want to do that, you should join us. And it's a very much an accountability group. And if there's something else you want to do, and just be accountable, because I believe so much in accountability partners. So that's what we do. We stay accountable till the next time we meet. We say what we're going to have done, and by the next time we meet. And yeah, it's a great group on Zoom. It's a very safe space. But Life is in Session, and Hurwitz, Hurvitz, Deborah Hurwitz episode, she talks about perfectionism versus procrastination being the flip side of the same coin. And that a lot of people don't start what they really want to do because if they can't do it perfectly, they won't start. I've never been a perfectionist, I don't think. Other people may disagree and think that I am. I'm not. I know I'm not, but I'm just happy to get things done. But I like wrestle with that in my brain. I'm not sure. It's a really good episode, and she helps people through that hurdle. And so if you're somebody that doesn't want to start until you could do it perfect, just know you could never do anything perfectly. It's a fact of nature that you can't. And so just do it. Like, this is your time right now. And if God has put an idea, or the universe or whatever, I don't want to turn you away from the G word, but if the universe and energy has put this idea in your head, it's for a reason. Angela Manuel Davis always says, if you can see it, you can be it. And she does a whole very uplifting monologue diatribe. I have one of the chapters from my book is on the website from when I got to interview her, and I've got to interview her for the podcast. Anyway, she's super motivational. And so, yeah, there's a reason that you can see that vision, and you are meant to do that. And nobody can do it the way you can do it. We all have our unique handprint. I am not for everyone. This podcast is not for everyone, but I do know that I help some people, and that my voice is needed in certain places, just like yours, in whatever way you be used, whatever it is that you want to do. There's a reason that is in you. So your time's now. And that's number 4, Life's in Session. Number 3, whatever it is you feel called to do. Number 2, and to me, this goes along with number 1. Number 2 is being of service. We are here to be of service to others. We are not here to live in isolation. If you don't feel good, if you're feeling depressed, lonely, just blah, go help someone. It may seem counterintuitive because you're the one not feeling well. 100% of the time when I go help someone else, 100% of the time, I feel better. If I go and feed the homeless, if I go and just whatever it is, if I go pick up trash with others, it's very much with others. There are so many places to be of service in the world. If I go and help others, I feel better. I went on a trip with my temple. I was one of the people with the clipboard, just for a cause I believe in. And I did not have time to do it. I'll just start with, I didn't have time to do it, but it was something, first of all, I knew I would be in community, and that's something I believe in. And I talk about it a lot. We must be in community. The blue zones where people live the longest, the happiest, and the healthiest, which why do you want to live a long time if you're not happy and healthy? It is because of community. We need to live in community. We are not meant to be isolated. Texting is not the same. We need to actually talk to each other. We need to hug. We need to be together. And when we're of service to others, we're in community. We help each other. So there's just so many places that it's needed. And so that's it. And coming from a place of service is always going to make you feel better. Always. There's just no exception. So that's why I went and helped out and stood with my little clipboard and had people say mean things to me. And I think I got the mean things said to me because I just came from my 7-day retreat. So I got the most meanness because I have no idea. People aren't usually hating on me, but that happened to me that day. And yeah, so what, whatever. I guess it wasn't me. Anyway, so being of service. And when I was going individually during that period before the lockdown, I was told that also. And I was also told, you young people need to put down your phones and be with each other. I just like being called a young person. So I thought I'd throw that in. And the number one thing I have learned is love, which is not a surprise. We are here to love each other. We need love, and we need to be love and to give love. We need to give love We need to do acts of love, which is being of service, which is why I think 1 and 2, which is being love, giving love, acts of kindness, all of it. I think they go hand in hand. People have survived great tragic horrors, and yet they can still be love and give love and do acts of kindness for others and still stay present. And it never ceases to amaze me. They've had to do work, they've done plenty of work on themselves, and yet here they are. It takes bravery, it takes all kinds of things, and yet they are there helping others. So it's about, I think listening should be in there also, but nobody talked about it. But to me, just listening and being present for someone else, I was taught we have one mouth and two ears for a reason. We need to listen twice as much as we should be talking. And so just being there and being a presence for someone else is an act of service, and it's an act of love. So I'm curious what you think messages would be. To me, this is what I've received from 200 guests in my 200 episodes. I need to express my gratitude. To me, I do a daily gratitude practice. I've been doing it every day for over 14 years with someone else. I've practiced gratitude for, oh my gosh, 38 years probably. So yeah, just about 38 years I've been grateful. And Nancy and I have been exchanging gratitude lists. She'll correct me on this, but she and Scott are my biggest supporters. They listen to every episode, and we exchange our gratitude lists every day, Nancy and I, and now with plenty of others, a lot of others. But she does hers at night. I do mine in the morning. And it's really a great practice. It raises our vibrational frequency, and we stay in contact, even if we're traveling or no matter what's going on. And I cannot stress that enough. Also, if you're mad at somebody, write a gratitude list to them. Write down everything you're grateful for about them. It is an amazing thing because you won't be mad at them anymore. Write down. I'm going to tell you the biggest regrets of the dying again, because I think that they correspond so much with the messages from the different guests and the lessons gleaned. Wishing you live a life true to yourself instead of the life others expected of you. Wishing you didn't work so hard. Nobody ever died. I mean, nobody on their deathbed ever wished they worked harder or made more money. Can't take it with you. Wishing you had the courage to express your true feelings. And for me, I don't know if you've listened that much, but I didn't grow up talking about my feelings. So sometimes I still to this day, I'll be like Googling feelings chart and be like, that's what I'm feeling. I'm much better these days at talking about how I feel. Wishing you stay in touch with your friends, and wishing you let yourself be happier. So lessons gleaned and life lessons for you are, I'll go in order this time. Number 1, love. 2, being of service. 3, whatever you feel called here to do, there's a reason you feel called to do it. Number 4, life's in session. This is now. If you feel whatever you feel called to do, go for it. Do it. There's a reason that you feel called to do it. This is your time. Number 5, stay true to yourself. No more people pleasing or doing what somebody else thinks that you're supposed to be doing. Number 6, friendships matter. Number 7, you have your own answers. And I'm going to add about listening, and I want to talk about gratitude, because I am so grateful to you for listening to 52 Weeks of Hope for 200 episodes. And like I said, I'm in the middle of a rebrand. I kind of like radical recharge, because it's about recharging your life, taking that breath and getting on the floor, laughing with your kids, or taking the time out and taking that breath and going within and seeing what's right for you. I thought radical pause, but there's already podcasts with that. So if you want to join me for the accountability group and just staying for whatever it is that you want to do, starting a podcast, writing your book, getting a partner, and taking the steps to that. I manifested Scott. He's pretty great. Just meet up with us once a month. I'd love to have you join us. You can find me at 52weeksofhope.com, the number 52weeksofhope.com, and join the community and get on the email list and know everything that's happening. Again, I am so grateful that you've been listening. If there's any topics in particular that you would really like to hear, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know which episodes you like and what you'd like to hear more of. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and take with you the messages of gratitude, authenticity, and connection. Such great messages to take into your week ahead. Be sure to tune in next week for another empowering episode all about how to live authentically, abundantly, and how to simply feel better. It's also about embracing the lessons I talked about this week and growth from your life's journey. You're going to love next week's episode. It's so good. I just love the guests. Be sure to share this episode with your friends and to rate and review the podcast so more people feel less alone in the overwhelm. And to remember the pause. Answers emerge in the pause. And instead of adding to your to-do list, how about a to-don't list? Don't forget to go to the website at 52weeksofhope.com. Until next week, I'm Lauren Abrams. I really appreciate you. Thanks for listening.